Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are having an amazing time here in data engineering. A lot of interesting talks since the morning. And we are in the data engineering conference. So what I'm going to talk about today is how the high quality data is very much important when we are dealing with generative AI applications, right? So in my talk today, I'm going to talk about why the quality of data is very important. Then I'm going to talk about the 3 different projects which are failed because of the poor quality of data. And then I'm going to talk about how you can use the data contracts to improve the quality of the data, and how simply you can use the Flink SQL to implement some of those enriched information based on your enterprise context to generate Gen AI applications. So let's start. So first of all, there are 3 pillars of AI, right? Data, AI model, and compute. Data is the foundational element, right, which is guiding the AI learning and determining the task specification and accuracy. AI models, which is like the brain of the AI, which has algorithms to process this information to make the decisions. You need a good AI model. And the last one is the compute, right? So you need resources which can run the hardware, software to train these models. But for today's talk, I'm going to concentrate on the data part of the pillars, right? The second thing, AI or artificial intelligence is nothing new, right? It's there in our industry from a very long time. Previously, if I classify, it was a predictive AI, where we learn from the history, we learn from statistical data, and then make some decisions or predict what can happen based on the historical facts, right? With generative AI, it's a bit different, right? You give a prompt to a large language model with some context, and based on that, it was just generate a response curated for you based on the information provided, right? So both are there to help and generate the insights, but it doesn't matter which model you're going to use. The model itself cannot stand alone, right? If you do not provide a good quality of information, if the information is not trustworthy, if it is not relevant, and you cannot instantly apply that information, then the model itself is not sufficient, right? In general, if I say I'm going to provide big pile of drag or misinformation to an AI model, and if I expect it will generate some small gem of good information, that is not possible. So you need to provide good quality of data, right, in order to generate good insights. So let's just talk about the 3 big projects which are failed because of the poor quality of data, right? The first one I'm going to talk about, the Google flu trends. So Google launched a project called in 2008, and they thought they will revolutionize the whole medical industry because they will do the trend analysis of flu based on the search, based on the search data, what they collected from various different Google users. And that project got failed because of the poor quality of data, right? So every time if I go and search about the flu-like symptoms, does not mean that I have a flu. Maybe it's just that Monday and I don't want to go to work and I'm trying to find some excuse, right? So that particular project, in 108 weeks, it gives wrong prediction for 100 weeks. it just gives twice number of the failed like double the number of flu cases compared to the actual number of flu cases. And Google has to abandon the whole project in 2015, right? So what I'm trying to say over here is, it doesn't matter that if you are going to provide the big data, it is going to be a better data to get the insights, right? The second thing is Air Canada, right? So what happened is a person booked a flight with Air Canada, and unfortunately he lost his life, and their family was arranging the funeral. So they just went to Air Canada site to look for the bereavement policy, and the chatbot suggested that this is the bereavement policy. And based on that details, they just booked did the arrangement, booked some flights for the funeral arrangement. Later, when they go to Air Canada, they refused to give the refund. And they said that's not our policy. And it was a really stressful time for the family to go through the funeral process. And at the same time, they have to deal with all these things. And what happened is, like, they went to the court, and the Air Canada said in the court that the chatbot, which is there on their website, is the separate legal entity, and the whatever information they are providing via chatbot, Air Canada is not liable for that. And luckily, the court, does not give the in the favor of Air Canada. They understood this is not correct, and then Air Canada has to refund the money and all the expenses. But I think it's not just only damage the reputation of Air Canada, but also it's it's like unethical, like how they are doing or dealing with the customers, right? And on talking about unethical, I'm going to talk about the third projects, which is Facebook, right? So Facebook collected lot of user information, right? In 2018, they collected the information. They were running the analytics using the Cambridge Analytica. The user information was collected for some other purpose, but they did the analytics and to change the people's perception around the political election campaign, right? And they managed to do it, right? So technically speaking, the data model was perfect. The quality of the data is perfect. Infrastructure is good. The algorithm works, right? So whatever they intended to do using that tool, technically they are successful. But despite their technical success, it's a big failure because they didn't take the proper consent of the user, and they used the information for an unethical purpose, right? And it is a big failure from the data perspective. So it is very, very important not just to have a good model, good data, but data has to be used for an ethical purpose. And that's where, when you have some misinformation floating around your system, right, and which is incorrect, inconsistent, inaccurate, and what it will do is it will create the domino effect of poor quality of data throughout the enterprises, and when you will take this decision based on that data, may not be accurate, may not be good, right? Ultimately, this information, now we are in the Gen AI world, RAG is the topic, and if you have attended this morning's Amar session, he went quite in detail, but generally you will submit some prompts, it will come, then you can add the additional context to provide more details to large language model to get a better response, right? So this small dots which you see over here, which is like a context, in enterprise, if you want to determine this context, you need to deal with this big giant mess, which is your information is stored into various different data silos available all over the price, and then you need to determine this real-time right information. You wanted to use the LLM model and provide the policies which are belongs to enterprise, and don't want LLM to use generic policies, right? So how we can solve this problem is using the data streaming platform. So Confluent provides the data streaming platform where you can connect n number of systems using Confluent, which will create data streams. On top of that, we can process this information. So you have now real-time information coming into the platform. You can use Flink AI interference to send the user prompts along with this context to get the response from the LLM, and then provide that information and share it with the broader ecosystem. So what are the building blocks you need in order to generate a good, successful AI application? You need good quality of data, which meet all the compliance requirement, and also you need a robust data governance on top of it, right? By high quality of data, what I mean is data has to be fresh, it has to be complete, relevant, and trustworthy, right? And how you can get the good quality of data? You can get using the data contracts, right? So data contract, is it new? No, it is there from a very long time, right? It used to be in long time back in the XML world or JSON world. Now Avro protocol, there are different types of data contracts available. But what data contract gave you is the structure of the message, right? So the message which are generated by the producing application, what its structure it is going to follow. You can have the integrity constraint. What it means is each field, what type of data it will contain, for example, string or numbers or whatnot. You can also have the metadata information, that who is generating this data, why this data is generated, and all the metadata related to this. Also, you can have rules. So, for example, you have email as a field, right? And the email address always have a special character in it. So, you can define the good data quality rules on top of that data. And also, we have evolution. So enterprises evolve over the period of time, and you need to have a strategy in place so that as you're moving forward, you can evolve your data structures, right? So with good data contract, you get the structure, integrity, metadata information, and the rules in place, right? So what else you need apart from data contract is the stream quality, and you will get a good high quality of data streams using schemas. You need a stream catalog, right? You wanted to give the capability to all your developers, all your enterprise users, that what data streams are available, so that they can go and self-sufficient and self-service themselves to discover the data catalog. And obviously the lineage, right? In enterprises, there is tens and hundreds of systems. You want to know where the data is coming, where the data is going, what's happening in between, right? So you need a proper stream lineage view of the data. So that, along with data contract, stream quality, catalog, and lineage, gives you high quality of data, which is compliant and governed. Now I'm going to run a quick demo. So here what I have done is I have a user who is sending some prompts, right, to a chatbot. So, and that information is coming into data streaming platform hosted by Confluent. When the prompt is coming, in first go, I'm going to use Apache Flink to interfere with AI model. Here I'm using the Bedrock. So it is going to just call the LLM model directly, and it is going to give me a response that, I do not have the sufficient information, because what I'm going to ask is, okay, I'm going to generate some prompts like, okay, how many loyalty points do I need to get into the platinum level, right? So I provide that prompt. Based on that information, it's going to give me, you need to tell me more about it. On the second side, what I'm going to give is, because this is my customer who is sending this information, as an enterprise, I know who this customer is, what is my loyalty program, like what are the different details. So this information is already present in the different systems. I'm going to use that information which is present in some of the silos as a context and add that information as a vector store. I'm not using the real vector store. I'm just going to use topic. So I will put that information into the topic, and then you can see the difference based on that. Like once you add the context, how the the response is different, right? So here what is going to happen is, I have a data engineering bytes as my environments. You can see over here there are a lot of topics, and these topics belongs to different teams. Each topic has a schema. So I'm going into a customer topic. You can see it has a structure, a schema. It's an average schema, and there is messages which are generated, right? So you can see on the left there is some messages. Also, I have a lot of metadata information about the schema already there as well, right? So also I have another topic which is prompt. This prompt is where I'm collecting the prompt information. So I have a data generator which is generating different prompts for me. So let's go to the stream lineage view and see how these different topics are connected with each other. I have capacity, like Confluent also provide, you can go back in time and see what's happening. So you can see over here, the data is generated and coming into prompt. From there, I'm just running a Flink statement. You can see I'm using a ML predict function. So I already defined my function as in Bedrock, and the response is coming into this response without context topic. On the other hand, on a parallel thread, what I'm doing is I'm joining loyalty customer data along with loyalty program data, and then push that information into a topic which has program and customer information. I'm joining that information alongside with the prompt. I'm providing that as a ML predict function, and the output is coming into the response with context. Now what we are going to see is, we are just going to see the messages. So see over here, what happened is, what is my current loyalty level? So based on the information with the context, it is managed to determine based on the points that what level I am in. And in the second one, where I didn't provide any context, and you can see the difference in the outcome. So here, because I didn't provide any context, and I asked like how many points do I need to become a platinum, and says, the information is provided is insufficient. So what you saw just in this demo is, if you provide the quality information, real-time information to an AI model, you will get a better response, a more accurate response. If you do not provide the context, the real-time information, if you provide the incorrect information, then you are not going to get a good outcome, right? Just to summarize, yes, generative AI is important, but you need to understand these LLM models are trained on the older information, right? To get the relevant result to your business and customers, what you need is data in real time, which is of high quality and is governed properly so that it's ethical and the governed data. And using Flink AI, you can easily interfere with, do the AI inference and build your new Gen AI application by providing the more information from your other systems. And the last point is, yes, we are talking more about Gen AI these days, but predictive AI still exists, right? So you still use that. Don't forget about it. Thank you.